Mame fa na se ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Looking at the event and the whole euphoria around it, I think that he's established himself well within the political class, or among the political class, and also among the business environment.
Yeah.
So we could see all persons at various positions in Ghana were at this particular event. So it also means that he's really loved by some certain of Ghanaians. But I'm thinking that the cry was very emotional, especially the message that came before the cry. First, he started by saying that it was a slip, not intentional. So if your position is that it was a slip, then I don't see the need for the tearing or the crying. I think that as a leader, you should not expose such weaknesses in public, all right? So I think the cry is not needed at that platform. The second thing I also add is that the cry, is it a position of government or his apology? Is it his personal position or the position of government? Because I was thinking that if the government distances themselves from the statement made by that lady, the statement should have come from the presidency, right? So Julius' cry and then apology might not be the position of government, and there should be that clarity on this particular subject. We need further information from the government.
But I think that quite clearly. I mean, if you listen to the video, if you watch the video, yeah, he used the word we. Sorry, unless of course I didn't hear him clearly.
Yes,
but you want to know whether we as in who and who.
Who?
Right.
You get it. Okay. Who and who. So it might not be the position of government.
Right.
Maybe one of few people, because there are also hardcores in government who still think that what the lady said was right. So a statement from the presidency could have finalized some of these whole ambiguity created around this particular apology. So I think that maybe Julius apologized on his fewer cabinet or the few members around him on behalf of government, and that may not be an official apology. You're right. We need an official apology.
But Ben, if you look at it this way, sorry for interrupting. Yeah. Sorry about that. But because you're raising a very interesting question. If you look at the fact that the chief of staff is more or less like the headmaster, right? He's more or less the, you can call him that's the word I'm looking for. He's like a senior minister.
Yeah.
You know, apart from the fact that he runs the presidency, he is the minister of all the ministers.
Yeah.
Okay, and all the appointees basically. And that is why when appointments are coming, oftentimes it comes with a chief of staff's endorsement. Of course, we've seen situations where a few times the secretary to the president will append a signature to, to announcement or some recruitment or employment and so on. But the chief of staff is the chief of staff. Now, you don't think that the fact that personally he says our colleague Mary Wusi had said something or she slipped and want to say we are sorry, you don't think that can be taken as a government apology?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. That is one. Now, even if you also brought new information, so chief of staff comes to apologize, right? And the expectation was that after the apology, if it is quite sincere, as we are made to believe, an information ought to have followed that beyond this apology, these are the measures we are going to met out to the lady who made those comments. You know, there was no any information indicating some form of reprimanding the lady that made a comment. At least the minister or the pastor would have been expecting some assurance from you that that lady will not make such a comment again. But you just apologize without even indicating what measures will be put in place to penalize the lady if need be, that she deserves some form of punishment. So I think that the apology is quite even scanty in terms of being sincere on this particular subject matter. Now, the other part also has to do with the code of conduct for some of these appointees. I think when I heard the lady say that, even though he was being engineered by the host, because some of the things she we are made to believe that she said she didn't start them because the host was pushing those words into her mouth. But being a politician and a political platform, because the platform she was is a quite heated platform, so she decided to follow what the gentleman said and also said, yeah, I mean this, I mean that. So it also creates an issue of those we appoint into some of these offices, right? And they actually knowing their mandate as officers of some of these organizations. Because I believe that if you are a CEO of free zones, sometimes you don't even have to make time for some of these political shows because there are a lot of issues bordering free zones that must be tackled. And even if you get a platform, yours is to advocate or even share information about the new strategies or innovations or creativity that you've brought bear to the operations of free zones in terms of forward looking and vision of it. But to go and then be saying some of these tantrums, I think that is unfair on their part. And the government must, for us to have belief and trust in government, I think that more what the government must do is to penalize if any of these persons go contrary to the code of conduct. It is not an apology. Apology will not maybe change the mindset of some of these people, right? But when you begin to penalize them, letting them know or letting others who follow them know that some of these things are not entertained or must not be entertained within our political discourse will far more serve us good than what we just did, than the crying and then the wailing and then the other things we did at the church. Now, Moro, I think that the pastor said nothing wrong. He said nothing wrong. What the pastor said is what all of us have been complaining about, including the government, because there's high turbidity or porous levels of water, which the government even knows and have data on them. There is issues of galamsey everywhere, which the government knows. There's land degradation, galamsey affecting cocoa production. Everyone knows. So if a minister of a church says that because of galamsey, some communities that we operate or we have our fellowship are not able to baptize using these rivers or streams, he said nothing wrong and does not guarantee person we pay with our taxes to go on air and say, I'm giving him a last warning. As what? What is the capacity of that lady doing to say that? And sometimes when I observe some of these issues, I think that it also raises the question of how we profile persons we appoint into some of these offices. Right? Because sometimes when I hear some of these appointees, I begin to think some of them are suffering from personality disorders. Right? Because at the point they are like this, at the other side they are like that. And when people begin to have these personality disorders, this is what they bring across on media platforms. I think that the apology is not enough. It must come officially.
Maybe not a personality disorder, because that would be a bit harsh.
Okay, maybe.
You can say that they blow hot and cold. I think that's fine.
But that is personality disorder.
Well,
it's a behavioral disorder.
We all do. We all do blow hot and cold. You see, when you use the phrase personality disorder,
okay,
it can mean different things.
Psychosis or psychiatric
exactly
behavior.
The point I'm making.
So,
it can mean different things to different people.
You want me to use mood swings?
So maybe well, that's fine.
Okay.
I think mood swings is fine.
Let me use mood swings.
We all do have.
Right, but let me use the mood swings.
That's fine.
So what the lady did, right, implicates someone with huge mood swings, and sometimes when you study psychology, right, behavioral disorders, someone with high mood swings can be the other side of mental health. You get it. And I think that we must do proper profiling in terms of appointing some of these ladies and gentlemen to some of these offices. Because today, whatever the lady has done embarrasses the president, right, and reduces the president's goodwill, especially among the members of the Church of Pentecost. And that is why the Chief of Staff used this particular opportunity in launching his political presidential ambition to pretend that he's wailing. Because I don't see, sometimes I'm struggling to see the sincerity, especially when information did not follow up to say that because of what she did, we are likely going to reprimand her. Or we've advised her to do A, B, and C, but just to say you apologize on her behalf. And even using the word a slip of tongue, I think that that whatever the lady said was not a slip of tongue. She was very intentional about what she said. She knew what she was saying. And I think they even planned what she was expected to say on set before she got to set. It was a planned thing. Because I think she was misinformed about what the pastor said. So she got it that, the perception is that the pastor is believed to be an MPP member. So when you create that perception, it leads you into antagonizing any statement that the man of God said. Right. And that is what just happened in the studio.
Right.
So it was not a slip, it was intentional. She meant it. And even if you listen to her apology, I don't know more whether if you listen to her apology. If you listen to her apology, if Ghanaians, she said in Twi, say Ghana for say, the American man can not hell. If Ghanaians, so it means that she's not even still sorry.
It creates a certain impression that it's a conditional apology.
Yes, conditional, and she's not even sorry about it. You get it. So what Chief did, I think that is likely going to create a lot of conflict in the party. Because the Hawks, especially I was reading some friends that I have at the station, he did that. Their status. And I realized that, Chief, NDC, you don't like protecting your own. Others did. They were protected. Someone did. You don't want to protect him. Don't want to protect her. You went about saying all these things, right? So it is likely even going to worsen the situation of the NDC currently as we speak because of what Chief did. But if the statement had come from the presidency, especially the president, because the president was also at that particular event, I think it was brought some finality to this subject that it is the president, the commander-in-chief, that is apologizing on behalf of the party because the chief is not a party. And also the government because the chief is not a government. Yeah. So the president also remaining silent even also raises question whether even the president supports the apology of the chief of staff. So that's why I think that the man of God has already accepted the apology. He has accepted the apology of the chief of staff. He has said that he doesn't watch or listen to such persons, right? So he didn't even hear. People prompted him. He has been popularized or famous by such action. The church has been popularized or famous by such action. And the chief of staff, had it not been his birthday, wouldn't also apologize. Because listening to him, he said, 60th commemoration. I'm using this 60th commemoration to apologize. So I asked myself, Moro, what if chief of staff was not celebrating his birthday in that particular church? Would he apologize? Would he have apologized? Assuming he was not celebrating his birthday in the Church of Pentecost. At that event, would he have heard any apology from the chief of staff or the presidency? No. So the whole scenario raises a lot of questions and ambiguity. But I think that since he has apologized, an official communication should come from the presidency telling us that they are sorry to the man of God. Because the man of God, even in MPP time, raised a lot of questions with respect to water turbidity and also porosity, right? At MPP time, we raised a lot of questions with respect to Galamsey. And today, we must allow men of God to also speak because the country doesn't belong to politicians. It's not for politicians and media persons alone. We are all part of the country. And being part of the country, we must be allowed to say what we think bothers us as persons of this particular country. And the man of God just said that. So I think that the chief of staff's comment was not sincere. That is my thought, because it was just an event he wanted to take advantage of and then use that event to apologize. The apology didn't come from the presidency or it didn't come from the government. It came from him and maybe some few members he thinks support his apology. And for us to get a better apology to that particular man of God, I think that the president must sack this particular lady because she doesn't deserve to hold that particular position.
First of all, I think that the CEO of Ghana Free Zones Board went overboard. But in her speech, they were all if conditioned. Whichever you look at it, if you listen to her apology, one, the fact that the person involved is a man, so she highly respects that person. And the fact that he's also a religious leader, right? She also respects that fact. But let us all listen to what the apostle said. Sometimes, you see, I wrote an article about body language expression, in terms of communication, you have verbal and non-verbal. And most often than not, that which is said, if you do a linguistic interpretation of it, you will get a deeper meaning. Probably that is why the woman suggested that he sounded political. I have been against Galamsey in the time of Mr. Akufo-Addo, and this time round too, I'm still against that because it does not select, doesn't pick and choose. Whoever it is, we are all getting ourselves destroyed along the line. So if somebody makes a speech about that, you have to take it in its equanimity and then do something about that. Whichever you look at it, some pronouncements may be political. They may have political undertones. Now, if you suggest that because of Galamsey, we are now no longer able to use the natural rivers about, and so we have to use synthetic, you have to be resorting to using synthetic. So the question is, did it start now? Or is it a new operation? Because I'm not too sure if the water has become better. I don't know. But the effort of this current government is there for everybody to see, notwithstanding the politics underneath some of these things. The effort is there for everybody to see. So that is where the politics is. There is some cynicism in what the apostle said. There is some cynicism. And that cynicism is based upon the fact that he is suggesting that, to be frank with you, the issue of Galamsey has intensified. That is what it means. It has intensified. And that's the more reason why, if it is currently or previously, they are now resorting to the use of synthetic, pools. So that is probably where the lady flared up, thinking that is, because I see some cynicism in that particular statement the apostle made. That notwithstanding, then you look at where the chief of staff comes in. I don't think this can be called an insincere apology. Of course, politicians are opportunistic. They look at the environment and they take what, they take the opportunity to do whatever they need to do. I can always tell you, in the era of Mr. Rawlings, they go and they are commissioning a particular, project that has been built. But then you will hear him say something else, or that which somebody has said, they will use that to rebut. So they are not related, but the person speaking finds that time as an opportune time, right, to speak to a particular issue. So you cannot take that opportunity away from him. But I don't see the insincerity in there. Maybe some pronouncement might have elicited something of that sort, but if that which was aired is anything to go by, I think it's a sincere apology. To the extent of even becoming emotional, that aspect, I didn't see it coming. And I'm not too sure that he's equally launching his presidential ambition on that particular platform. Besides, he's not told us anywhere that he wants to become a president. And people have been reading meanings in the health work and other things. Well, until the time is due, we can only assume. But this platform, to launch his presidential ambition, well, I have my little doubt. Mm. So, by and large, if you have to be fair to all sides, the lady slipped. She was a bit on the high side with respect to her response. And obviously, as I said earlier on, it might have come about because of some kind of cynicism in the statement that the apostle put out there. Somebody asked a question on a particular platform. What has happened to the National Cathedral prosecution issues? Because this man of God was the one who was the chair, right? Others are thinking that, well, is it the case that the government is no longer interested in the National Cathedral? And you made a lot of noise about that. We are looking at the issues that affect the finances of this country. And if somebody can dig a hole and spend over millions and hundreds of millions of cedis or dollars, then as a nation we ought to be interested. But here is the case: you have the Pentecost, their boss, right, and the chief of staff being a member of that church. I don't know if there is any conflict out there, or that is the more reason why those issues have been slowed down. Ghanaians deserve to know. If there is nothing untoward about National Cathedral, let it be out there so that people have their freedom of mind to either speak or not to speak about that. But some of these things, I feel some of them are conflicted one way or the other, and that's the more reason why they might have slowed down. But you see, I don't know the political strategy, as it were, with respect to the Chief of Staff, Dr.
Julius Debrah.
Julius Debrah. I don't know whether this is his political strategy or a way of making himself more pronounced in the political space, as it were, to launch a certain ambition in later years. I don't know if that is the strategy, but I think shedding tears over this, I don't think it was warranted. Mm-hmm. It was not warranted. And if you intend to be a leader, you must check your emotions. Of course, he's a human being. He can be emotional, but you need to choose the time carefully so that it will have the desired impact. Because somebody can easily say that this is a crocodile tears that he was sharing, and that this particular issue, maybe his 60th birthday is something that got him emotional. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can attach that to it.
But Doc, you know what? I think that in all of this, context is key. So first of all, he's a member of the Pentecostal Church.
Yes.
He sees Dr. Apostle Nyameche as more like his father. Mm. He sees the attack by Dr. Mary Wusi as like an attack on his own father. And so that gets him a bit emotional. So this is more like it's a relationship issue, which is at stake. Doc, when you also saw the video, what was your immediate reaction? But before you comment on this matter, just give me, let me just do this. You're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. Please stay with us.
Degradation and galamsey menace. The extensive pollution of water bodies due to illegal mining has hampered traditional water baptism in some mining communities, necessitating a shift to synthetic rubber pools in several districts to carry out the ordinance.
Oye Nyaminipa. Oh no, yeah, you Pentecost head and the chairman. And I make us oye Nyaminipa. Yes. Yeah, the best chairman. Then next time. Okay. Ma form to that level. 14 warning. The catcher. Okay, so yes. From free zones authorities. From me, Dr. Maria, we say the catcher warning. Yes. Said next time we won't descend it to that level. More fire. So descend it back from but yeah, no politician. We would deal with him as a politician. Something like I see you. Yeah, the need man. Me the need man this time. Say what yeah, Nyamini. Say anwa wono so. What you say? Enya anwa asem. Anwa wono so sa anko me kan do kan ya. Ye mpesa me kire ne say ye the need man no. Say what yeah Pentecost for chairman. Okay. Sa kasa na wo kasa ye no. A highly political statement. Who's that? Yes. How? Nanado etiase no eti akonya so no na ukọ enkura mining communities na enso net se mpampa utumi de wonsasa na gu nsem na Ghana ha na oni Ghana no Ghana na Ghana ha na oni Ghana no Ghana wo hu ya na wo hu ye enne je mo ba ye measures are put in place enso no afei etimi rane stability level that down flow no fire. Eti won't mean na ho nka nche se wo hu difference ebia wo ensuo ne mu ensuo na ni ate enflow se na another time na ensuo no enflow eti se wo ye sofo na se asem a da ho a ye nokre wo se wo beyi wa sofo ntade ato ho afa political dress ahye political lens akasa next time you be treated as a politician this time you're the best pen yes no ohwe so ni sofo djuma se na another tena so a na ensuo ntimi enflow na enso ntimi nrane na wontumi ehye forest no mu ese Ghana no se wose wo ehun na na enso na ni ti no e no ba be ka sa statement ni ya de beche no for this time yesre no oni ni sofosem onjai politics na ye nye politics unless it's person or join politics or my hunu if he wants to join politics he should let us know next time then we deal with him as a politician but today ye be man say or ye suffer
Dr. Mario
opinion. It may be in the process of also sharing my opinion. Me can be Ghana fulfill say man can year na be sa. Me you permit me akasa amanepsia. I abstract and apologize.
Okay.
Me respect papa no. Mpempe so a wadru enfie mu kra enye yize. So obesu nyame a prepare kodru chairman enye yize. Osan ye bema. Enti me stress on say in the process of also expressing myself in response to the statement he made. Se me kan asembia an kan yia me retract and apologize to him, the Church of Pentecost, and the general public.
The chairman of our church, you know, myself, Honorable Elder Ofusuampofo, our local government minister, and several others are members of your church. A few days ago, one of our colleagues, Dr. Mary Osi, slipped a bit against you. And I want on this occasion to commemorate my birthday, to let the whole church forgive us. It was just a slip. It wasn't intentionally done to malign our church. I believe sincerely that you will forgive her and forgive us and accept us as your children.
As for this lady, she has made me more popular. Yeah. I mean, people like that, I don't think about them. Yeah, because she's just made our church and myself more popular. If I held anything against her, like standing here to speak for 45 minutes, I would have said something about her. But I think that we all have our opinions on issues. And so let's just forget about this one. So I've forgiven her. And so don't worry. I want your heart to be to rest and enjoy this day.